Someone is asking for part 4. Okay.
Part 4 next week. Dr. Baru, part 4 for next week.
All right. Very good evening to all of you. After a fantastic launching of new products yesterday, today I think people are all excited to listen to once again the detox, the Gen Cell, getting activated. So coming back to our episode 3, the reason why I had to get into the part 3 was there are small things which are interconnected between the light, then our sleep, and of course, ultimately, the water plays a very important role in our cleansing system and nourishing our cells. All these are all happening in that cell level. So coming to the third part, so I wish to let you know that the road to health, that means you want to be healthy, it all begins at the cellular level. That means if at all you want to build a huge building like Twin Towers, there needs to be a foundation. So the foundation is the one which keeps the building strong. So in the same way, when you are looking at health also, only when your cellular health is optimal. I say optimal, the reason is if your cells can function at around 70 to 80% of its optimal level is good enough. Because many times we may not be able to get a total 100% functionality of all the cells joined together. The reason is if 100 people are joining together, you might have trained them, you might have given them instruction, but still out of the 100, 90 may follow the principles, the basics of what you taught. But there'll be a little bit of variation in that little bit of 10 people. So in the same way, our cellular health also, with the 50 trillion cells, I would say if 70% of your cells are optimally functioning in every organ, you should be on the healthy aspect of life. So this is very important. Only now people are talking about epigenetic health. People are talking about epigenetic factors which are affecting your health. There are machines to check your cellular health, and that's how people are all slowly getting into the wellness side, so that they don't want to get into the illness and then change over to wellness. It is quite expensive if you're already in the illness area and then you want to come back to wellness. It is going to cost a bomb for you. The reason is, of course, there will be a lot of areas of correction what you need to do for your body, and that's why we always say earlier the better. So as young as possible, if you can start leading a healthy lifestyle, it's not that you need to take medications, it's not that you need to take our epigenetic help. It doesn't, you don't need it. And but you need to have a very disciplined lifestyle. Now discipline plays such an important role in everybody's life that most of the time we fail to either follow, or we fail to either make a protocol for our own self, so that everything starts falling in place. Now, when you say that, definitely sleep also is something which we take things for granted. We sleep late, we wake up early, or we wake up early or late. But there are a lot of hanky-panky things we do in our life. It's still okay if you're doing it once in a while. But most of the time, we all need to blend with the nature, which is very important. You are with nature, then your health also will be very healthy. Now, if you look at the animal kingdom and the animals and the birds which are living, now if most of them, they don't fall sick unless some major diseases come, and then but most of the animals you see, they will die a natural death. Recently, I was I was looking at something regarding monkeys. There was that person was discussing, like, have you ever seen a monkey dead on the road? We would have never seen. Now, why is that? Because monkeys are so intelligent that the moment they know that they are going to die, 3 to 4 days earlier, they will just go sit on a branch of a tree very silently. They will stop eating, and then automatically they will die. They will attain the state of nirvana. That means the soul leaves the body and goes. Now, how come a monkey, which is a 5 sensed animal, can know that it's going to die. Whereas you and me are much more higher senses with higher evolved status on this planet Earth. Hardly we know when we are dying. And most of us are scared of death, and most of us are so engrossed in the diseases. We ultimately are the only way we for us is we either are stuck in a hospital where we are just going to the hospital, coming back, going to the hospital, coming back. And then at the end of the day, your journey when you are in the older age group, you tend to get frustrated because there is no solution. But finally, what you need to understand is it doesn't matter. What I would request or I would guide you would be is youngsters start early, have a disciplined lifestyle. Elderly people, I would say it doesn't matter. Even now, you can change your life with minimal changes, little by little, little by little, little by little. Like recently, I had a person, he was around 70 years old, and then he just came and saw me a month ago, and a diabetic with cardiac issues. So what I did was the basic screening, I finished everything, and then finally we put him on nutraceuticals and epigenetic correction I did for just 1 month. Now, in 1 month's time, the second situation was I told him, like, we are going to reduce your diabetic medication. He was quite surprised. He said, Doctor, can I stop the medication? I said, don't stop. Let's make it into half tablet and let's start doing. So what happened was I made it half tablet and then I stopped the medication for almost a week. And then we have been checking his blood sugar. You won't believe a 70-year-old man, no medication. And for 7 days, his blood sugar was 5.5 to 6 maximum. And after food, the best part was within 7, after food of 2 hours. So he was so happy. And then he said, Doctor, what is happening? I said, don't get excited. Your body at present is telling you, I'm fine, it's okay. So now what's happening is it's a challenge for me now because there is something called a rebound phenomena. Your sugar levels will bounce back after 10-15 days. So I told him, let's not jump into conclusion. We need to see how your body is responding in the next 10 days. So once again, the next 10 days is going to take only a quarter tablet. That means just a little bit of to support the body and then move forward so that the body knows that there is something going on in. Then we will be once again rechecking. Now, this is where you need to understand that when you support your body with the right kind of nutrition, with the right kind of thought patterns, with the right kind of guidelines, you need to have the right, probably a doctor to guide you in the right direction for you to, understand how your body works. See, ultimately, it's not that we just prescribe you and then you just go on taking it. No, we need to understand your body, then only we will be able to assist you. Now, saying that, let me go on to the next slide. So let me do a recap of what we spoke in the past 2 weeks. The first week we spoke about the sleep, wherein pineal gland is involved, melatonin hormone is released. There are 4 stages of sleep in that NREM, carrying the information and storing it, and cleaning happens, especially the emotional cleansing happens. Then you have the REM sleep, which is a state of dreaming, your filing system, invention and consolidation. All this happens there. And then if there is a sleep deprivation, leads to many problems, and especially sleeping at night, 9 a.m., 9 p.m. would be an ideal, and 8 hours of sleep is good enough. This was the first week. The second week, of course, we went a little more detail. We went into the cell function and light, and then we spoke about oxidative stress, a little bit of car and its cooling system, how our mitochondria cooling system plays a very important role, and then how melatonin, we all know, is only for a sleep hormone, but melatonin also plays a very, very important role in our oxidative stress during the daytime. So nighttime cooling system, melatonin is still okay, but daytime cooling system is also through melatonin happening. But for that, you need to have a proper circadian rhythm. That's what we were discussing last week. Then how about the cortisol secretion, which is a stress hormone. If it is too high, that means you will not be able to sleep. There will be a lot of diseases which are connected with the cortisol. If it's high, you will have. Then, of course, we were discussing about exposing for 30 seconds of sunlight, and then 30 minutes up to maximum of 30 minutes is fantastic. So these were the information we discussed in the last 2 weeks. Now let's see what we are going to discuss this way. So I think many of you would have probably followed the system of, going to bed early and then, waking up in the morning and then exposing yourself to light. Now, this is basically what you need to do is you need to create that circadian rhythm, which is already there in your body. You're not going to create something new, because the circadian rhythm is, which is naturally God's creation, and it is naturally present. We are the only animals doing night duties and wake up even after the sunset, and then doing all the things which we are not supposed to. And finally we feel so proud that we have all the disease under the sun, we have all the stress under the sun, and at the end of the day look for solution in the hospitals. You think the hospital can give you a solution? No way. You have to blend yourself with nature. You see, most of our, especially people who are all in the Kampung side, maybe you go to Cameroon Islands and see the villages down there. They are all living a very happy life, because they go to bed very early. But for us, of course, we have all the various reasons for us not to go to bed early, because we have so much of maybe office work. There are so many things we have to do, and so in that way, we are consoling ourselves, saying that we can't go to bed early and we can't maintain the circadian rhythm. It's fine. Now, the question is, once the body replies to you or responds to you because of your disrupting the circadian rhythm, now what happens? There will be some problem which will happen. It's just like in your radiator, if the required amount of water is not there circulating in your radiator, what will happen? Your engine gets heated. Whether you like it or not, you drive the vehicle half the way, it will just fume up, and then you will say you have to stop, because there is a temperature gadget which will show you the temperature is high, and no way it will stop, right? If a machine can do that, our body is also like a machine. So what you need to do? The machine will break down. How will it break down? The only good news for ourselves is the body doesn't break down like a car immediately. What happens in our stages, it goes very slowly, step by step, because it will give you warning signals for at least minimum of 3 to 6 months to 1 year. For example, if you're going to become a diabetic, it takes 2 years for you to become a full-blown diabetic. It takes 2 years. Now, what is that you have been doing for 2 years? Why is that you cannot recognize that you're a diabetic in that first 2 years? Because you think everything is okay. Or maybe you just go to the doctor and say, yeah, it's borderline, and then it's still okay. Then the doctor will tell you, yeah, you have to just go for dieting. That's it. After that, nothing. Now, if my job would be is, I will ask you, okay, fine. If I'm going to tell you you're on a borderline diabetic, what I will do, that is where I'll catch you, and then I'll tell you, look, these are the things you need to do. There is no excuses. You have to wake up in the morning, you have to do this kind of exercise, you have to walk this amount, and the number of steps, you need to run like this, you need to work at this particular speed, and this is the exercise you need to do. Very specific. What is the food you're going to eat? That also I'll tell you. Okay, do this, do this, do this. Now, once we do that, the person also will start following it. But if I'm going to tell, hey, okay, you're just borderline now, just be careful, you watch your diet, then what happens for 1 week, this person will go back home, no rice. He won't take, the best good news most of the people will do is they won't take sugar. The moment someone is diagnosed with early diabetes, what they will do, they'll just stop the sugar and do everything under the sun, is eating of outside food to everything they will do. So what happens? It doesn't matter if you don't eat rice. Even though you're not eating rice, if you're eating all the other things, definitely your glucose level will shoot up. And if you're thinking, for example, I hear a lot of people telling, doc, I'm eating white bread, or so I'm eating wholemeal bread. Now, so what? How many of you would have tried, okay, take a fasting blood sugar level, and then later on eat your whatever food you're eating. Like it can be white bread, or it can be a brown bread, it can be a German bread, whatever it is. You eat exactly 2 hours. Check your sugar level. How much is it? Then you know pretty well how it spikes. In fact, if you check your sugar level 30 minutes after whatever your food, you will know how it is spiking. Is it really shooting up very high, or it's going very slow? If it is shooting high, it's not good for you. If it's going slow up, it's good for you. So like this, what you need to do is you need to know what exactly your body is speaking to you by checking certain things on your own and then practically get into the mode where you need to work on the solutions of it. Now, saying that, once again, we are supposed to wake up, we are supposed to follow the circadian rhythm. When you're talking about circadian rhythm, once again, at least minimum of 30 seconds to 30 minutes, better get exposed, early morning sunrise, it is a good. But if you're talking about later part of the day, of course, the sunlight is okay. You can, of course, expose yourself. But what happens is the amount of radiation, the ultraviolet radiation will be a slightly higher side. Now, if the ultraviolet radiation is very high, what will happen is automatically your body will produce a lot of free radicals. If the body produces free radicals, definitely there's a problem of oxidative stress in your cell level. Now, the best solution for you, the best solution, if at all, you're not able to at 9 o'clock and suddenly you go at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, choose any shady tree, and just be under the tree for some time. Don't expose yourself to direct sunlight, because the plant by itself has a capacity to reflect the infrared radiation from the sunlight onto you in the form of light. It is possible. So it's not that you have to go and expose yourself directly to sunlight. I'm going to show you something very beautifully. It has been documented. Now, here, if you see, once again, for you to understand, we do have the light spectrum. When the sun rays come out, there is a light spectrum. In that, there is a visible light which you can see with your eyes. Now, if you're talking about visible light, is somewhere between 400 to 700 nanometers is your visible light, which is only 39%. But imagine on the left side of your screen, you see the ultraviolet rays, wherein it is below 400, and then of course it's above 290, correct? Now, in this spectrum, there is a lot of free radical damages can happen. But at the same time, if you are looking at ultraviolet B, exposing yourself in that particular light also for some time will activate your vitamin D3. That is also happening at that particular area. Now, coming on to this side of your right side is infrared red, which is almost 54%, which is also quite a big amount. So even if you're getting exposed to the sun in the far infrared or near infrared rays, it's good enough to stimulate your cells and stimulate your cellular function, wherein there is a lot of metabolic situations which is happening because of that exposure of that sun particular light, and light gets converted to energy. Now, for you to understand that, if I'm talking about infrared rays, it comes in and it's in the form of a light. But the moment it comes and hits you, the energy is what we are more concerned. It converts itself into an energy form. Like now the latest situation where you can, it's still in the process, but not available in the market, where you can buy vitamin C, vitamin B12, vitamin D, or anything in the form of a light. That means you go online, pay for vitamin D, okay, 50 milligrams. Okay. Now, if you're paying 50 milligrams, you will be able to download that particular light in your mobile phone. And then what you need to do is you're supposed to expose onto your wrist here, and then open up the light and then on it. The moment you on it, it will transmit that vitamin D3 energy in the form of light, and that will get converted into the energy of vitamin D3 and go inside your blood vessels. Now, this is the latest one, and then there's a lot of research going on. So in the future, I do not know whether you would like to, we will be eating food or not also, I don't know, because we may get all in the form of what rice do you want? You want basmati rice? It will be there in the phone. Just put it on your thing, it will get. But at the end of the day, let me tell you, see, we human beings are good in innovating. It's all fine, good. But the way we are going is we are going against nature. See, today, once you are starting going against nature, there's a lot of problems you are facing. And at the end of the day, it's your discomfort, your diseases, your problems which you're facing because of all these hanky-panky things, what we do. We have to pay the penalty for it. But are we ready to face all this? We should be ready. If the world is going at that level, but at least you can decide what kind of life do you want. You want a very simple life? Lead a simple life. Whatever comes at the end of the day, we all will live everything on this planet Earth, and then we'll live. One day we'll just close our eyes, finish the last breath. That's it. After that, however luxurious you would have been on planet Earth, it doesn't make sense because your soul doesn't carry all those whatever you did, and it doesn't carry anything. Your body also petrifies, and then that's it. It goes on to the earth. This is what is the reality of life. So let's all be with nature, blend with nature, and then slowly accommodate. At least, no doubt, we are all evolving, but at the same time, let's not forget that we should not move away from the nature's way of living. Now, when I'm talking about infrared rays, now there are a few things you need to understand. The reason why I'm talking a little detail about light exposure is because your oxidative stress plays a very, very important role at the cell level. And then there are a lot of diseases which are being promoted inside your cell because of all the wrong things we are doing. And then at the end of the day, it affects your sleep as well. So here we are talking about the near infrared rays of the sun has the best beneficial effect on the cell. Now, if you look at the way near infrared, exposure, can you see here? It's around 750 nanometers, and then when you look at the way it can penetrate, it can go from 1 centimeters to up to 8 centimeters, and so the penetration is much deeper. So that means it goes below your blood vessels, and then it can open up your blood vessels and then help for extra circulation, your cellular function. All these can happen. And mitochondria plays a very, very important role in production of energy. And if at all, if there is any collection of waste products inside the cell, we call it as an oxidative stress, which is happening inside the cell, and it is not thrown out, it is not taken out, it is not taken out because just one example is your melatonin secretion, you're not exposing yourself to sun. So that means melatonin secretion inside the cell doesn't happen. So once that doesn't happen, the oxidative stress is there in your cell. So what happens? The cell will die either. So what happens if by chance the cell is going to reproduce or divide? Of course, it will be like a disease cell. Now, this is where you look at the cancer. They try to spread the abnormal cells much faster. Like it will be very shocking for many of us that we just go to the doctor with stomach pain, and suddenly the doctor will do a scopy, and then you will say, hey, you are having cancer, stomach cancer. That's it. But you never had any problem. You never had any issues at all. If at all, if any issues also, maybe just for 1 day, 2 day, or maybe 2-3 weeks. That's it. And finally, the doctor will say, hey, you're having stage 4 cancer, That's big shock. How come your body is not telling you? What I would always say is, your body would have spoken to you. Number one. Number two, if you do not listen to your body. Now, how do you listen to your body is very simple. At least in a day, calm down, switch off all the, if it is a daytime, switch off everything, darkness, then listen to some light music, and then, just feel the situation around you, what's happening, and then start going inside slowly. Just follow your breath and then see. When you do that, what happens is your body starts speaking to you. You will be getting a lot of information from the universe as well. And then you will be able to, well in advance, know what's happening in your body. So you need to listen to your inner body's messages, inner body signals. You need to listen to it. Now, saying that infrared rays exposing to your skin plays a very, very important role. As I told you, it helps at the cellular function. Now, as I was talking about melatonin, once again, melatonin is very, very important in terms of for your oxidative stress cooling system. It is very, very important. But there is something very beautiful I'm going to share here is, see, we were all thinking that infrared rays, comes onto the skin, it just goes inside, right? But the research, they found that infrared can just penetrate into your skull also. That means it goes inside your skull. And then that in turn benefits your gray matter. That means your brain cells. There's a lot of things happening, especially the metabolic waste, what's are happening there, the cooling system we are talking about, right? Your cells, the melatonin, which is produced inside the brain, automatically the cooling system will happen. There is a lot of healing can happen. So that means The moment you expose yourself to the infrared rays of the sun in the morning, it not only the light goes inside through your eyes and then stimulates your pineal gland, but at the end of the day, in the daytime, your cortisol gets stimulated. But the other parts of the body, what happens when it is exposed to sunlight is it will automatically start producing melatonin. Now imagine if you're oversized, you're a little big size and you have a lot of fat. Definitely the skin, the far infrared penetrating inside the skin will be difficult. And these people will definitely have a little problem in terms of cooling system. That means they will have actually a lot of oxidative stress. Just for example, if a person is on the overweight side, now you'd have heard from them, hey doc, it's very difficult for me to lose weight. Now you will try everything, but it doesn't work. But there are methodology which you can follow through the epigenetics, where you can actually slowly start improving the metabolic rate and then, burning the fat. You need to burn the fat. Now, the only way for you to burn the fat is it's like, you have a storage room and then you keep 100 bags of rice and then, but you go on buying the rice bags from outside in a shop and then you go on using it. How the 100 bags which you bought inside and kept in a storeroom is going to be used? It will never be used. The same thing goes with our fat system also. You go on eating the food and on this side, you expect the fat to come down, it will not come down. So you need to work on a little different platform wherein you need to utilize this means you need to starve. That means you need to stop, reduce the amount of food, going for fasting. And, it's a balanced fasting you all need to do. And then slowly we should be able to get the benefit of losing weight. But coming back to the sun, once again, the light penetrates your bones as well. That is something very, very important. So exposing yourself to the sunlight outside early in the morning is very beautiful, and it does help you to produce melatonin, which is very important for the cooling system of your cell. And in terms of oxidative stress, it reduces your oxidative stress in the cell when you expose yourself daytime, 30 seconds to 30 minutes. Good enough? Now, the good news, another good news for you all is you say, hey, doc, the sun is very hot, like 8 o'clock in the morning, cannot expose myself to sun. It's okay. So now what you need to understand is God created trees, right? You imagine the trees are there. So as I told you previously, you can see something here, the reflected light into our eyes. Can you see here? We think the light actually penetrates into our pupil and goes in, right? But the light can actually, infrared can go above the eyes. That means surrounding the eyes also it can go through, and it can go through your skull also. It can penetrate and then it can do the work. See, over 90% of the light entering the eye doesn't go through the pupil. Over 90%. That means only 10% of the light goes through your eye. And what ends up in your retina is only 10% of the light what goes through. And that's in a daytime, of course, your cortisol gets stimulated and then your cortisol secretion happens. But if it is a nighttime, when you switch off the light, your melatonin starts secreting. It's a very beautiful situation where early morning is a cortisol and the nighttime is your melatonin happening. So here the good news for all of us is the reflection of the infrared rays from the sun by the leaves is the best gift for all of us, because you just go stand there is good enough. It will reflect it and then you can absorb that light. But when you look at the buildings in the same area, the buildings will absorb the ultraviolet rays and other infrared rays. It will absorb. If it absorbs, it doesn't reflect. That means you cannot use it. So here, anything that anything that reflects is the one which will be able to use it. So in that way, exposing to the sun, you don't need to be in the sun directly. If trees are there, just go under the sea and then, under the tree, sit down there, you are still exposed to the infrared rays. That's amazing, isn't it? In the creation, see, there are a lot of alternatives we have. There are a lot of supportive ways. If one doesn't work, you can go for the other one. So in that way, there are a lot of things you need to choose what you want to do and then start working towards that. Now, this is something which is very, very beautiful. If you're a diabetic or hyper, I don't want to specifically tell any diseases. The reason is Exposing yourself to sunlight is so beautiful that it will benefit in so many ways. But there are people who will be telling you, okay, if you do this, you will be getting the benefit for diabetes or blood pressure or heart issue or stroke. I say no. Let's look beyond all this. You want a total health benefit. There are a lot of good things. Now, the infrared ray, especially the 670 nanometers one, it dilates your blood vessels. If it dilates your blood vessel, that means if there is a blood flow problem, definitely you need the vasodilatation. Now, if there is no vasodilatation, how the blood flow will improve there? Now, this is something which we all, many times, we would have very, very commonly noticed is a person who is a diabetic, suddenly his foot after an injury becomes dark color. See, the moment there is some darkness happening, that's an indication that there is a blood flow issue down there. Now, most of the time, you go to a hospital for a treatment for these kind of will be is invariably your sugar levels will be very, very high. Diabetic will be very high. Doctors will say, hey, your sugar levels are very high. But when the sugar levels are high, we are more concentrating on the sugar levels only. But here in the leg, what will happen is if worse comes worse, you have some ulcer or something, the doctor will go on, cleaning the wound. And, of course, they want to clean the wound, but on the other side, they will think of controlling them. But here, what I would recommend would be is you need to increase the blood circulation. This is very, very. If you want to increase the blood circulation, you want to go for a natural therapy. So there are natural ways of exposing yourself to sun. Number one. Number two is you can use infrared rays. There are a lot of infrared lights available in the market. You can use that to expose yourself to that particular thing so that there is a vasodilation. There are a lot of products available in the market which can actually open up the vessel and then produce a little bit of nitric oxide, especially if you're talking about arginine. Arginine is something which is available in the market, and when you take that, it gets converted to uh, nitric oxide, which of course it will open up your blood. So what we need to understand is whenever there is an issue of blood circulation, you need to open up the circulation. That's the first thing you need to do. Plus, of course, if the complication of diabetes is already existing, you control of diabetes, yes, we all have to do that. But my question is, why do you want to wait for a disease to get into complication? Why is that? Why can't you, the moment you know you're a diabetic, you should change your lifestyle, you should change the way you're living, you should change the way you're eating your food, you should change the way you're thinking, you should change the way you're living, like doing your day-to-day routine. You have to change. If you do not change, what? How do you expect your body to cooperate and then work for you? Your body is not going to do anything. If you don't help your body won't help you in any way. And you should be thankful. You should be grateful for whatever the body is doing. But most of the time, you would be grateful for a person who's paying you a salary, and you're so thankful for that particular person. But the body inside you, who is working 24 hours, your heart is working 24, your liver is working 24 hours. Amazingly, we are doing so many things we are doing, but we are just not bothered. So I would prefer every day be thankful. Early in the morning, hey, I'm awake. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. You're awake. So let me do. Ask for divine guidance and ask, okay, fine, show me the way. What do I do? And start walking the journey of life as it comes. You just move forward. If you're given a job to do, if you're having a proper job, just go and do what you're supposed to do. Your boss would have told you, okay, your job responsibility is this. Fine, do it. But at the end of the day, your body also do something for you, isn't it? So why not you also be thankful and spend some time? So spend some time for your own self, please. Is called self-care, and it is not selfish. It's called self-care. Now here, can you see the ultraviolet rays and the ultraviolet A and B? What you see on the left side, the arrow is as you go nearer to the ultraviolet A, you can see a lot of free radical. What you see here is the free radical being produced by that particular rays. But as you go down to the far infrared rays, what is happening? The curve is going down. So that means there is less of free radical damage happening because of the infrared ray. That's why in the market, if you see, you would see a lot of infrared ray related lights, and the chambers available. And, there'll be a lot of gadgets available exposing your So what they are trying to do is they are actually trying to expose, and then that in turn will cause a little bit of blood circulation. And then see, actually, when you're talking about far infrared, is basically you're trying to produce melatonin. All right. Now, if it is natural one, it is definitely good. But sometimes we don't have any choice. Maybe if you're living in a country like fully snow related, or maybe near Antarctica or Arctic region where there is less of sun, so you definitely need to use what is that, artificial lights there. But here in Malaysia, I don't think we have any issues. So we should be able to go with the natural way and then try to expose yourself to. So as far as possible, if you're all you're exposing to the direct sunlight, and especially after 10 o'clock in the morning, you're exposing yourself to too much of ultraviolet rays. And there will be some questions people will be asking, Doc, I'm going to use a cream which prevents the ultraviolet rays. Yes, it can prevent the ultraviolet rays. But when you look at our infrared rays, it will just penetrate and go inside. What you're preventing is only for the ultraviolet rays you're talking. Whereas infrared will just penetrate. As I told you, it can penetrate up to 8 centimeters deep inside your skin. So here what will happen is you apply, you only prevent a little bit of that. But there are a lot of other problems we all face when you're using all the chemicals to prevent the natural sunlight coming onto the body. As I told you, you don't expose yourself. At least go under the tree, and then where you can get the. See, our main aim is get the infrared radiation, right? Now, the more sun exposure, the more vitamin D3. Now, there is a very beautiful study they did on almost more than 1,000 to 1,500 people, and then they found that it can prevent something called the melanoma, or a cancer of the skin. When you're exposed weekly 2 times, just Saturday and Sunday, the vitamin D3 production is already there, and that in turn gives you a lot of protection for this particular type of cancer. Whereas people who are not at all exposed to sun are much more, I would say, eligible to get into that cancer level. So why is that? Because vitamin D3 is an anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties are there. There are a lot of good benefits of vitamin D3. Now, there was a clinical study which was done. This was done in India, and then what was noticed was when they checked 100 people for the blood test for vitamin D3, they noticed that 99 people had vitamin D3 deficiency. That was something very alarming, and that's when the pharmaceutical companies started looking at producing, vitamin D3 capsules. But here in Malaysia, we still don't have any injectable forms of vitamin D3, still not available, but it's available in India. And vitamin D3 plays a very, very important role. Now, vitamin D3, once you take, if it is sufficient amount of vitamin D3 in your body, your sleep will be fantastic. So here, if you are not sleeping very well, let me tell you, check your vitamin D3, how much is your level. And there also, I want to give you a clue. Let's assume that your blood report says the normal level is between 30 to 100, the normal level. Anything above 100, they will say it is toxicity. That means it's poisonous. But anything below 30 is less, insufficiency. That's what they will say. And I've seen a lot of people having 5 to 10 also the numbers. And now these are the people, of course, you need to put them on injectables and give them a booster dose so that it goes faster. But what I would like to share here is if your blood levels are around 35 to 40, I would say it's low. It's not at all normal. You cannot definitely have the good benefits of vitamin D3. And the cell function of vitamin D3 is almost 400 different metabolic functions. It is very, very important. Every cell needs a vitamin D3 for it to function, especially if you're on a thyroid issues, renal, your kidney issues, you need vitamin D3. Now, what I would request is you need to optimize the vitamin D3 up to the level of around 80 to 90 would be ideal, because many times you will notice that 30 to 35 is not. So this is where in our epigenetics, what we talk is we optimize your existing cell function. So What is normal for the regular practice of our allopathy is not normal. We want to optimize it, because in the optimization only you get the benefit. It's like, you have a car and there is a petrol tank, right? Now, in the petrol tank, why the company has given you something called reserve, petrol reserve, before it goes fully empty, there will be a red light which will tell you the petrol is in reserve. What does it mean? It will be around 5 liters of petrol. It will say that 5 liters is still there. You better go to the nearest petrol bunk and then fill the petrol. Now, this is what is called the reserve for a vehicle. In the same way, for you to have a reserve, you need to have the optimized number, isn't it? That's why we are talking about around 80 to 90 of the vitamin D3 levels will be the optimal level. If by chance during stress or there is something happening in you, at least this optimization, even if it comes down, maximum it will come down to around 30 to 40 or maybe 50 is the lowest you can expect in a stressful job. You still can use the vitamin D3. But imagine you are in 30, and of course, people will say, it's okay, la, normal, very good, and they'll send you off. No, if you're in 30 and there is an emergency situation, it will go down a little more, maybe 15 or 10. Then how your body is going to function? D3 is required for so many other functions, so it won't work. So this is where very important is you need to optimize your body. You need to optimize. Now, if you're talking about optimization, in another simple concept, I would definitely, most of us are not even looking into it. Your breathing technique, your breath. How many of you have a good reserve in your lungs? Like if you see in this, many times, most of my patients, I'll just show you this. See, this one is something, a spirometer, wherein when you start sucking the air, you can see the thing there. Now, this one I can do up to 2,500. Okay, this is the way I can breathe in until 2,500. I can go up to 3,000 also. But when I give it to my patient, they can't even go up to 1,000. Very rarely they can go up to 1,500. That means the lung reserve is not. Now, is it that they are a problem? I would say they don't have a reserve. They don't have a reserve. Now, you need to understand that your body needs a reserve for everything, and especially the lungs reserve is very, very important. So whatever you do, when you wake up in the morning, one of the epigenetic correction I do to people is, my first thing is I tell them, do the breathing exercise. You have to do that, whether you like it or not. 15 minutes in the morning, 5 seconds of breath taking in, 5 seconds hold the breath, 10 seconds leave the breath. Now, the 10 seconds of leave the breath, many times you will be wondering why 10 seconds of breathing out, whereas inhalation is only 5. No, this is only for the first 1 month. The second month will be 10, 10, 10. The third month will be 15, 15, and 15. So that means for 1 minute, you'll be only one time. It's amazing, So why do we do all this? Is we want to give you a reserve of more of oxygen in your body and less of carbon dioxide. All right. Now, when you have less of carbon dioxide, there is something. Cancer cells are very, very happy eating this, taking up this molecule of carbon dioxide, and then they will be very happily multiplying there. Now, you don't allow your body to accumulate with carbon dioxide. What happens? It gives you more oxygen. Don't you think you'll be very active? Don't you think your brain will be active? Don't you think you'll be energetically enduring everything? You can climb the stairs very fast. Why is that you can do all that? Is because you have a reserve. So that's why if you can breathe in and then you can suck until the 3,000 measure volume, it's amazing. So this is what we all need to have, is we need to have a proper reserve, and that is when we'll be able to use it when we are in emergency. Suddenly you need to run. The fire started up in your building. What do you need to do? You need to get down the staircase. What you will do? You should run, right? So that time you need to have the reserve. If you don't have the reserve, nothing will happen. This is what I would say is, whether you're 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, 80 years, don't worry. Keep your lung reserve a little more than what is necessary. Keep yourself optimized. Keep your mindset in an optimized way. Life is so beautiful. It's always you need a reserve. You need to have something as a standby. Your body has everything for a standby, whereas you as a human being, you know what you need to do, but we don't have anything separately for our reserve. We don't do that. So saying that, very, very important is sleeping at the right time and exposing to the sunlight in the morning plays an important role in starting the circadian rhythm. So I'm repeating it. So you want a circadian rhythm, you better wake up and then expose yourself. But some people will say, hey, doc, sorry, la doc, my job demands, I need to be awake. It's okay. So what I would request you is, what you can do is keep your computer screen a little far away from you, and the visual fields must be a little slightly lower. Why I say that lower is because when the light comes from below, it doesn't stimulate your retina inside. Whereas from the light above, it will directly stimulate your lower part of your eyes, and that in turn will send a signal. It's already still day only, don't produce melatonin. This is the reason why from the below light, this is where in your rooms, very important in your bedrooms, you should have the lamps which is almost yellow or to reddish in color, and it should be dim light, and it should be placed at the lower end. When you switch it on, the light should come from below, and you should never have lights like this on the top, especially in your bedrooms after 6 or 7 o'clock. It should be always illuminated from below up. Why? Because you need to prepare your body or your mind, your brain, all that. Okay, fine, I'm going to sleep now. The sun has set. I'm going to sleep now. So let me prepare for you. So that's how your body also will automatically start preparing to produce melatonin, and then you will start feeling sleepy. You just try this for 2 or 3 days in a week, and then let me know next week. How do you feel? You should switch off the lights by around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Just switch it off and have a dim light. Work in the dim light, and of course, your computers, you need to use blue light, light being blocked. You need to use those blockers, and you need to work. But at the end of the day, you still are exposed to light. Definitely, it's not good for your eyes, not only good for your sleep pattern. So at the end of the day, you need to decide what is that you need and how you need to work on, because in today's world, I can give you 101 advices, but at the end of the day, it's you who have to decide what you need to do. So saying that, what do you need to do? Many people will ask me this. Hey doc, can I take melatonin supplements to be taking? Is it equal to the same? Yes, melatonin can be taken as a supplement, but the problem is, how do you know your melatonin is less? How do you know? Nobody knows. Just because you don't sleep doesn't mean that your melatonin is less, isn't it? Not many of you know. Okay, now the secret is, this is where my epigenetic experience comes in. Now this is where when you do a hair analysis or do a bioquantum analysis, in that there will be an arginine deficiency. If you have an arginine deficiency, that means automatically you will have melatonin and serotonin deficiency. Now, that time, if you are going to supportive supplement of taking melatonin, definitely it will help you. But here, what I would advise is, if you're going to take arginine directly, it's going to help you for producing serotonin and melatonin as well. It's a pathway. So why not we go with arginine directly instead of just only melatonin? But in a typical our allopathic practices, of course, we do practice giving melatonin 2 milligrams, and it may help them to put them to sleep. But I feel the day melatonin, what has to be exposed to the sunlight and the infrared, and then the cellular function will never be replaced. Because this melatonin, whatever you take, consume, doesn't go in, it is just in the bloodstream there, and then it doesn't go into your cell to work for you to help to put you to sleep. It is there in your bloodstream, and then of course that will give you a feeling of going to sleep. But in a long run, I would say, let it be natural, go with natural. And first of all, you need to check whether you're really melatonin deficiency, and then only you need to go for supplements, especially to sleep. Now, there are other people where they are going in for the diazepam. There are a lot of brands available when the doctors also will give you to put you sleep. Now, you just imagine yourself. Do you think that will actually help you to feel good by going to putting, like, forcibly going into sleep? And then of course, when you have a lot of pain and when you have a lot of issues where you feel you cannot sleep, maybe yes, I agree with you. You can take some sleeping tablets and go. But naturally, the painkiller is produced in your system when you sleep. Naturally, sleep is also induced by your own system. So always, as far as possible, go with the nature, and then let the nature do the natural things on its own. You don't force it yourself. But once you become taking drugs for you, automatically you will definitely be dependent on the drug. So you are no way different from a drug addict who is addicted to those benzodiazepines and narcotics, which is not at all a good. See, once you become dependent on that, your life gets screwed up totally. Everything goes heavy actually. And on the other side, of course, once you may not be taking a drugs, but you're taking our allopathic drugs also is definitely in a long run, we will face a lot of issues. So what I wish to let you know is you need to get into the natural mode of sleep and then start working towards it. You need to change. You need to work on a platform where you need to understand, okay, fine. Until what age am I going to work? Okay, I'm going to work like this. Okay, what do I do? It's you who have to prepare a protocol. When do you want to sleep? When do you want to wake up? What exercise you want to do? How much you want to go and expose to yourself? All this, please, you are the best boss for your own self. You decide, but at the end of the day, when disease sets in, there also you are the one who are supposed to find a solution for your body. So there also, I would say, it's not always the medicines is a choice. You cannot have a pill for every ill. Cannot have a pill for every ill. Now, this is something which many of us, the moment they have a little slight headache, they'll pop in a medicine. They'll have a little back pain, they'll pop in a medicine. They'll like any pain, they'll go for an injection. Now, this is something which I don't practice, and I don't even recommend people to do that, because for me, I feel God's gift, there are a lot of natural things available, and you need to heal yourself. Start working on how do you heal yourself. That's very, very important. So the best guidelines for you, get as much as natural sunlight, direct or indirect, doesn't matter. Please do it as possible, avoiding glasses in between within the reasonable amount and after waking up. For example, if you're in a condominium, if the sunrise is going to come directly, please expose yourself at least for 30 minutes. Exposure to lower level of red light and the sunset time is advisable. That means that's why those days and all, campfire, we used to call as campfire, right? You light a fire road and, just enjoy some music, playing some music. But that light, basically, when you see, is basically telling your brain that it is already sun setting and you're going to go to sleep. Now, but if you're going for a jazz music where there's full of LED lights and then after that you want to go sleep, definitely you will not sleep. But today's world, people are very, very smart. They'll go drink nicely and then finally go to sleep. They'll be like a log of wood going and sleeping in their room. But that is, you're forcing yourself to do that. So what is happening is we need to go with nature. That is where avoiding any type of light exposure after sunset, especially the blue light, is very, very important prior to 1 to 2 hours of your bedtime. Please look into all this and then start working towards this. So maintaining once again, I'm repeating, maintaining your circadian rhythm, please, is very, very important, because that is how your body is working with the reality of outside. It is balancing. It is trying to balance. If you're going out of the rhythm, when the music goes out of rhythm, what it is called, it's called noise. Absolutely right. But if there is a rhythm and everybody are playing the instrument at the right time, at the right place with the right guidelines, it's a music. It's a soulful journey we will be able to listen to. We always will say, hey, what a soulful experience of listening to that music. Why do we say that? Because everything is in sync. Now, in the same way, if you don't sync your body with the universe outside, let me tell you, whether you trust in the universe outside or not, you will face problem if you do not see the outside. So first is respect this body, give the due credibility to the body that it is doing a great job, and then you need to really, really take care of your health from inside first. So what you eat, what you think, how do you breathe, when do you sleep, when you wake up, everything has its own good effects. So when there are a lot of good things, that means you're syncing with the outer. This is all you're doing for yourself, but at the end of the day, the benefit you get is you get connected to the outside, because outside is already fixed. You cannot change the outside. It's already there. You cannot go and tell a tree, hey, I need oxygen, you produce so much of oxygen. The tree will produce what it is supposed to produce naturally. How much of chlorophyll it has to produce, it will produce. How much of fruits it has to produce, it will produce. We cannot go and instruct. Like, for example, you cannot plant a mango tree and tell, okay, fine, next year I'm going to get 100 mangoes in this tree. Cannot, isn't it? It's the same way. There are a lot of things in nature we cannot go and instruct because they have their own intelligence. And we ourselves should understand that our body is the most intelligent being. And imagine one cell, it's so intelligent by itself that your brain is nothing actually. You and I, we all think that we are very intelligent with the brain inside and you can do this. I'm sorry, your one cell's intelligence is not equivalent to your brain. It's something amazing. How beautifully it does, how beautifully it takes in the water, how beautifully it takes the nutrition, how beautifully the metabolism works inside. It's all cannot even see. But that's the amazing part of the creation. So it's such a beautiful thing we all have, and we need to. So if at all you want to respect, how many cells do you want to respect? You can respect one cell or two cell or three cell. How many salutes you can give? We have 50 trillion cells. I think you start saluting each cell from morning until till. Also, maybe it will take some years together to salute every cell of your body to say thank you and have a gratitude for the cell for it doing its job. This is something amazing. So saying that we all have a fantastic journey with circadian rhythm, we need to do that. Okay. Now, there's another important information you need to understand. If you sleep at the right time, what happens is your melatonin starts producing. Then when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol starts producing. Then when you expose yourself to your sun, the vitamin D3, then from there, a lot of good benefits are there. The cortisol, but if you're under stress, cortisol is producing more. That has got a lot of side effects. In a long run, you cannot have too much of cortisol. So you need to relax yourself. So what I told you, you need to do breathing, you need to do exercise. Can you see here? Even exercise. Now, there is something called a growth hormone, which is produced during your sleep. Now, growth hormone is the master hormone for your body. There are a lot of multiple functions of this growth hormone. In fact, doctors are there who can give you growth hormone supplements. There are doctors who are practicing hormone therapy. But if you sleep itself, your growth hormone will beautifully be released. But now see, imagine you're sleeping, growth hormone is released. Okay, now you wake up and you start going for exercise. Now, what are the benefits you're having by going for exercise? Number one, all the toxins gets cleansed. That's good, isn't it? Number two, when you're doing the exercise also, the growth hormone is produced. Around 9 to 10% to 15% of growth hormone is produced when you do physical exercise. So don't you think it's good that you need to do some exercise in the morning? I don't know how many of you are here on this platform are doing regular exercise. You might be saying, I'm just going for walking. Yes, I understand. But you need to do something beyond just walking, because many of us think that just walking alone is good enough for our physical fitness. I would say, no, you need to do a little bit of weight training. Even 1 to 2 kgs of weight is good enough. For dumbbell training, you need to do, man or woman, doesn't matter. You need to give a muscle a little effort for it to, when you pick the weight, you need to do. Then you need to keep your joints a little flexible. So you need to do proper yogic exercises. So for your joints to be a little flexible, you need to be a little flexible with your ligaments. How does it happen? It's only by regular exercises. Once in a blue moon, you say, I want to go for walking, and you go for 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. After that, 1 week, you don't go for exercise. And how? Your body cannot adapt. So start slowly, step by step, optimize, optimize, optimize. So if you do 2 kilometers a day first, then go for 3 kilometers, then go for 4 kilometers, then go for 5 kilometers. But at the end of the day, don't start running for 25 kilometers or 50 kilometers. You don't need to do that, because you are not a cheetah or panther to run fast to catch your prey. You don't need to. So you're not going to be a marathon runner. Let's all understand that human beings, we are here on this platform. Why are you born here? Maybe there is something in your own profession you're very good. Probably you need to share that beautiful experience to the other beautiful souls on planet Earth. Do it. Maybe you have a lot of money. Start doing some charity work. Start some building some colleges, or whatever is in your reach. Do it. So we are here. Only human beings can do all this, whereas animals don't have any orphanage homes. They don't go on do services to their animal kind. There is nothing like, only human beings we are able to, because we are the one creating a lot of problems. So we are the one finding solutions for it and trying to give solutions. So ignorance plays a very, very important role in all our life. Don't be ignorant in life. Be smart. and be alert. In the God's beautiful brain inside, what you need to do is understand the concept of nature. Nature will give you all the intelligence for you to understand how life is so beautiful. So saying that, what is important to avoid the sleep getting disturbed is there are a few things I've just named here. It can be job related because you have no choice, you're doing night duties. It can be caffeine related, alcohol, stress. If you're not going for exercise, also your sleep patterns will be disturbed. And especially if you're going for exercise after 8 o'clock, please know now. Many of you will be going to the gym at around 8 o'clock at night time, and then after that, what time you want to sleep? You're activating every cell of your body, and then ultimately you want to go to sleep. So, as far as possible, go for exercise before 5 o'clock or maximum 6 o'clock. Finish off your exercise because at least there is a latent period for your muscle recovery. All 3 hours is good enough. Early morning, best would be is the morning, go for exercise. If possible, 30 minutes of your time, go for exercise. And then, start change you decide which is then it can be disease related. People sleep disturbances because of the people who are diabetic, burning food, they have some injuries. All this, of course, their sleep will be disturbed. But at the end of the day, only when you get a disease, you end into a problem. Like my advice is be healthy all the time. And journey of life is so beautiful. You need to work through being healthy. Start working on it. Then, of course, noise pollution, making people, maybe your houses next to some machineries. Of course, noise pollution, you will not be able to see. But other than that, there are a lot of other reasons. I'm not going into very details of all that because I feel let's get into the healthy module. Let's get into the how do you go to sleep. I'm not interested in why you don't sleep because the moment you go there are a lot of things. It's like an ocean. You go there. I rather be here and guide you to take a natural part of life. So coming back to the water, definitely 8 hours of sleep and 8 glass of water is very, very important for all of us. Water is a primary elixir for our life. Our existence is because of water. Because water carries energy, water carries memory, water carries all the information. And you just imagine you are blessing a water through your hymns, or it can be verses from Bible. It carries that information. And when you drink that particular blessed water, there's a lot of positive changes happening in your journey of life. So this is where when you're drinking water, please think always the positive thoughts for your own self and then drink the water. But you're drinking the water and thinking, this fellow, he scolded me like this, or this fellow, cheated me like this, and then you're drinking the water. What will happen? Your thinking automatically goes inside that about that particular negative person, and that negativity also goes inside yourself. And of course, your trillion cells, it starts absorbing all. And then the other thing I told you, whatever you think in the daytime gets saved during your nighttime when you're sleeping. The filing system takes place. So in the morning, from morning until evening, if you're a very positive person, speaking only positive things in life, and doing positive things in life and feeling happy and smiling all the time, you may go through some difficult time, but even in that, if you start smiling, and nighttime when you go to bed, what will happen? Your body will automatically, hey, this guy has been very happy since morning. So what it'll do, take all the happy memories and put it in the happy occasion. But from morning until night, you go on complaining. You don't complaining and complaining. What will happen at the end of the day is only the complaint file, which will be huge, And over years, you go on complaining. You just imagine your brain is filled with only complaint, nothing else. So what will happen? You will be seeing only that kind of problematic people in life. People will only come and talk to you about their problem. Why? Because you are attracting that kind of filing system which is already existing in your brain. You created it. But imagine as an youngster, if you can start becoming a very clear, positive mindset people, and when you're old, also you'll be the same positive mindset people. So it is something which you all need to start working on it and start moving forward to becoming a positive. Now, as I told you very scientifically, what you think the whole day is the one which goes inside your brain, and from behind it comes onto your and records in the filing system. So just imagine, you think of the file itself, you'll get scared. Hey, I should not think anything negative. I should not curse anybody. I should not do wrong to anybody. I should not even think of doing anything wrong to anybody. Now, this is very, very important for you because your filing system shouldn't get corrupted. Now, once it gets corrupted, there is no antivirus for it. The only thing you will get is all the disease under the sun, and then after that you will find solution. Sometimes it's psychosomatic. We call it a psychosomatic because there is no treatment for such kind of diseases. So please, so water intake is a very, very important system to maintaining our engine system in balance with our burning. So drink sufficient amount of water and hydrate yourself. Hydration plays a very, very, until probably 3-4 years also, not many people were talking about hydration. Not many people were doing the, blood test for checking your hydration part. I myself, frankly, to tell you, it was first time when I saw Eddie doing this particular blood test and showing me that, hey, you drink the water and all the cells are all, it was something amazing, amazing. So here we do have a system whether 1,000 products can come in the market, but ultimately what happens is this water, a resonated water, our Terahertz resonated water is something very good. And there are a lot of good things when you drink this water. But at the same time, if you're having some diseases, you may not see some differences. But I would request, it's fine, just consume the water, it will help you. And at the end of the day, your water hydration of your cell, ultimately it's your cell, very, very important. And at the end of the day, balancing of everything in your life plays a very, very important role. And we do have our terahertz resonator, which actually is a fantastic innovation on this planet Earth for people to drink instantly. After 3 minutes of resonating, you can drink the water. The benefits are something amazing, amazing. Now, why is that? Our resonated water is much, much better because the molecular size is very small, very simple, and the linear strands of the molecule is much more easier for it to penetrate inside your cell. And of course, is much more stable. After the resonation, it's much more stable. But the benefits of all this, the properties, I would say the properties is, as you all know, this, see this, I can't change the slide because it's the standard one. It's like, it is a standard protocol. I need to share it. Our Terahertz resonated water has got all the antibacterial properties, antiviral properties, antifungal properties, antioxidant effect, anti-radiation, low viscosity. Now, low viscosity is basically, it's a very slippery thing. And the angulation of the water molecule is increased by 5 degrees. So normally, not many of you would know that the angulation of the water molecule varies from 104 to 1010 or 1011. But the ideal live water is around 106 to 109 is an ideal water. Now, this is something very, very naturally happening, especially if you're talking about spring water or from oasis, and they have that property of around 106 to 109 degrees, and that in turn is a soft water. And the absorption of this kind of water is 3 times more than the normal water because of the molecular size. It's a very small molecule, so absorption is much easier. So imagine there are 10 cells and the water molecules are all small. What happens? All the 10 cells will absorb the water. So if all the 10 cells are absorbing the water, what will happen? Automatically they'll start working, right? If they start working, automatically your basal metabolic, BMR, we call it, the engine starts working. It's like the engine starts working. And if in the 10 cells, only 2 cells are working, how does it work? If you're taking a bigger molecule of water, maybe the 2 cells are only absorbing the water, the remaining 8 cells are not. That's why you see a lot of diseases are also because of the dehydrated cells, which we will not know. The dehydrated cell absolutely will never tell you that it is dehydrated, because you may feel a little thirsty, but at the end of the day, thirsty means already the cells are totally dehydrated. Now you drink also, maybe there are few cells only will be rejuvenated. The remaining cells are dying actually. So there are a lot of other diseases which will start getting in. So please note that you need to hydrate yourself by optimize yourself by drinking the required amount of water. So the linear arrangements, as I told you, it has got a very high energy, and the beauty of terahertz resonated water, it can boil. That means you can make coffee, you can make tea, you can make cook food, everything you can do. It has a longer shelf life. And then of course, there are a lot of good things about the DNA and its rectifying situation which happens, but it's all long term. But at the end of the day, don't tell me that, doctor, I'm drinking this water, but my DNA, this problem is happening. It's not just we are talking about the problem what you're going to face by drinking the water. Of course, there are a lot of good benefits. There are a lot of other factors, like you're going outside. If there is an outside pollution happening, who is going to help you? Nobody can help you, right? Definitely radiation will be there. Definitely lead poisoning will happen. Mercury poisoning will happen. Cadmium poisoning will happen. Arsenic poisoning will happen. So who is going to take responsibility? That will go inside your body and create more problem. But you'll be thinking, I'm drinking Terra's water, so I will have all these good benefits. No. You will have to go through that journey, and then accordingly you have to change. If your body is speaking to you, listen to it. Then change accordingly and start working towards optimizing and living a healthy lifestyle. So what happens? Take responsibility of yourself and sleep early, wake up early, go out and see the sun every day. Let the cortisol increase naturally. Reduce your stress, very important. Even staying under the tree in the early morning is still okay. You please do that. Go natural with sleep and maintain your inner circadian rhythm and the outer reality in balance all the time. Keep it balanced. Life will be as beautiful as it has to be, and our journey will go on and on and on. And today being the 97th episode, I have another two finish, and then the 100th episode. It will be something memorable for me. I take it as a blessing for me because of all of you. I took this beautiful opportunity, and then the persistence, perseverance, and I would say the opportunity was given by the divine. And thank you, Brian, for this wonderful opportunity, and to the company as well. There's a lot of beautiful things. I wish every one of you a great week ahead. And then until I see you all, thank you very much with a new topic next week. Someone was asking about the sleep part 4. I do not know. Let me see if I get something enlightening messages regarding sleep. I will definitely come back with maybe part 4. I do not know. But until I come back to you, thank you very much and love you all. And then have a fantastic week ahead. Over to you, Brian.